So this movie broke all its toes on the landing. Let's get into it. Ballerina is a simple revenge story about Eve, aka Ballerina, exacting revenge on the Chancellor for killing her father as a child. Overall, poor story, somewhat decent action. This movie challenges your suspension of disbelief and is way too fucking long for a revenge flick. I give this a 2.5 out of 5 stars, only because the action kept me awake long enough to eat my nachos. Spoilers!
Come out to play.
The film begins with Eve as a child hanging with her father until the Chancellor shows up and kills him, or rather inflicts wounds that kills him after they escape. Ballerina is picked up at the police station by Winston. He gives her a gold coin and hands her off to the director, who takes her in and shows her the way of the ballet assassin. We get a 12-year time skip and we see Ballerina being trained in the Red Room. Ballerina expresses to the director that she is ready to paint her ledger red, and the director gives her a final exam. After passing this final exam, Ballerina happens to see John Wick coming in to see the director. You know, this takes away from Ballerina's story and shits on the John Wick movies. I'll definitely be getting back to this in the wrap up. So after seeing Wick, she is somehow able to ear hustle on the conversation, despite Wick being escorted by security and it being a very important meeting from John Wick 3. So after John meets with the director, Ballerina catches him in the hallway as he's leaving to ask him what she should do to exact her revenge. I'm sorry, but this is breaking all kinds of continuity. We ain't even got to the second half of the film yet. Film, you are testing my patience. Anyway, Wick tells her to fuck off and move on with her life. Ballerina takes a jab at him before he makes his exit. The nerve of this hoe. That's John motherfucking Wick you talking to. So after she passes the final exam, which was stupid when you unpack it, she is given a tattoo on her back. The film decides to do another time skip, and this time it's been 2 months. And instead of showing us Ballerina gearing up and going through her first mission, we get a transition via the tattoo on her back, just as she's picking out shrapnel from her arm from the last fight. Ballerina then walks through the crime scene, picking up some of her weapons for what feels like ages. We have a failed attempt at humor when she leaves the elevator. She walks out of the nightclub into the alley where she parked her car on the wall with a random enemy just smeared on the front end of it. She then casually drives off and randomly gets smashed by another car right back into the alley where she came from. Now this is probably my favorite scene of the movie, even though it was short and at the same time dumb. Let me explain. So after this random car rams her back into the alley and she dispatches them with ease, as Ballerina casually walks away, she happens to notice a tattoo on random bad guy number 55. You mean to tell me that you are just casually walking away from a crime scene and there's no police, no backup goons, and not even a crowd of people running out from the mayhem that they just discovered? Okay, you've completely lost me, the plot, and the tone of the John Wick movies, which from henceforth shall be known as the Daisyverse. So the discovery of this tattoo on the goon prompts Ballerina to confront the director. The director tells her to let sleeping dogs lie. Ballerina's motivation just kickstarted, and now she wants to exact revenge for her father's death and says screw it and tries to find out where her father's killer is. Ballerina then seeks out Winston as if she knew how much pull he had. She couldn't have known this as a little girl. As an adult, maybe yes, but I'm not going to give this film that much credit after desecrating the Daisyverse. Winston then tells her he won't help her, but after she pulls out the gold coin, he does. But it's stupid, because Winston is giving her the same treatment as if she was John Wick, without ever sharing any kind of bond with her. You mean to tell me he's about to put his hotel on the line for her? Come on. Winston ends up telling her that the man she is looking for is in Prague, or Prague. And through the magic of movie editing, Ballerina is right there in the lobby. As she is checking in, she asks the hotel for a room right next door to her target. in a literal, very discreet, unsuspecting manner. But for some reason, the Chancellor's gang is sitting in the lobby at the exact same time with a sniper watching over them and is alerted by her presence for some reason. As soon as Ballerina gets her room, she hops out the window without surveying a single fucking part of the floor or room and enters Daniel Pine's room, armed and ready to kill, only to find out that his daughter is with him, which causes her to get caught by Daniel. The Chancellor and his gang can be heard coming down the hall, and Daniel, a trained assassin, asks that Ballerina's random ass help take care of his daughter. Movie, please, you're hurting my brain. It's turning into mush with all these and-thens, random events, and characters trusting completely deadly, I don't know what your motives are, random people. For context, watch this.
We've found out this really simple rule. We can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed. And between every beat that you've written down is either the word "therefore" or "but." Right? So what I'm saying is that you come up with an idea and it's like, okay, this happens, right? And then this happens. No. It should be this happens, and therefore this happens. But this happens, therefore this happens.
So Ballerina decides to help. Ballerina, Ella, and Daryl, with his big ass shotgun, fight their way out of the hotel into a crowded street. Daryl decides to shoot into the air to disperse the crowd and reveal Chancellor's gang members. Ballerina and Ella are separated from Daryl by train tracks. Daryl tells her to keep his daughter safe and turns around to fight the goons. The biggest goon walks towards Daryl and his big ass shotgun. Daryl misses somehow and can only shoot one shot. So then they have the 100th hand-to-hand combat in this film. Oh, I failed to mention, most of the action scenes end in hand-to-hand combat after a single bullet is fired. Anyway, Daryl is presumably killed. Ballerina is knocked out and Ella is taken. The bad guys let Ballerina live. She wakes up and tries to track down Ella by going to an assassin's suit shop who tells her how to vaguely find them. Ballerina shows up to the town. Don't know how she found them. She just does a Google search for Chancellor goons, ends up in a restaurant, and has one of the dumbest Looney Tune ass fights ever put on screen. Let me set the scene. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna show you. This was the shit icing on this dumpster upside down cake of a movie I'm watching. I would have given it a pass, but the fact that this shit went on as long as it did, it was overkill. Ballerina defeats her, but then gets knocked out again by family goons and is brought to the Chancellor. The Chancellor goes over her backstory, blah blah blah, decides not to kill her for some reason. He walks out of the room. Ballerina escapes off screen because the writers couldn't be fucked and continues to go to town. The Chancellor ends up calling the director to tell her to call off Black Widow. So let me get this straight. A rookie assassin is handing seasoned assassins their asses.
Right.
Okay. The director tells him she won't listen and that she can send someone to fix the situation. Movie, we are not stupid. We know it's John Wick. He's been plastered all over this movie marketing. So why in the fuck are you trying to frame this scene as if it's the setup for John Wick's initial cameo in this movie? He was shown twice already in the first act alone. John Wick shows up in the most lackluster scene because it was already spoiled. And frankly, he shouldn't even be in this movie. This should have been Ballerina's story and maybe a tie-in with his ass later on. So Wick shows up, slaps Ballerina around while telling her, "You should leave." This was another belly laugh moment for me. I mean, the comedy in all the wrong places. Wick decides not to kill her and gives her till midnight to kill her target because reasons. All right, let me slow this down so this little wave of shit can hit you. Let's not forget, during this timeline, John Wick is in the middle of a battle with the High Table. Ain't no fucking way he has time to be in Prague, or wherever the fuck they're at to help this chick. Beyond stupid. Anywho, Ballerina goes and takes out all the goons, and we get the final sequence of peak stupidity. As I mentioned earlier on, this film challenges your suspension of disbelief. And in this sequence, I'm about to explain to you why. Ballerina has been using guns this whole time in a city full of assassins. She then decides to go full retard and use a fucking flamethrower instead of the gun that she keeps on her and later uses in a flamethrower fight. Granted, there is no actual scenario in which Ballerina should be using this flamethrower. She is shown to have bullets during this fight, and there are more than enough guns laying around for her not to use this lame ass, in the practical sense, flamethrower. Then you have the initial scene where she uses it. So an army of Chancellor goons are walking down a pitch black corridor on their way to kill Ballerina. Fuck it, let's watch it. So instead of shooting when you initially see the flame light up, you whisper, "Oh shit." You might as well edit this in right after.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Hollywood, you have bastardized this franchise. Please do not attempt to go any further with John Wick. He is dead, just like this spinoff. So after she barbecues a number of goons, we get to Blondie Goon. He also decides to forego a practical weapon, and these two fucktards start candle jousting. I mean, come the fuck on. What am I watching? Like most everything in this film, this could have been a cool idea by just minimizing its use. A quick, I have to switch guns until I find more ammo or make it to my gun or whatever would have fixed this scene.
But wait, there's more.
Then the film continues to melt my brain by letting these two burn gallons of gas without refilling the fucking tank. As they say, shit rolls downhill. So Ballerina's tank finally runs out and Blondie Goon flamethrowers her ass as she takes cover in a nearby building. Ballerina comes out with a fucking water hose that she didn't even turn on and puts out his flame with the water temporarily. They have a little standoff until his flame turns back on, and out of the blue, Mr. Baba Yaga himself shows up to shoot Blondie's tank and blows him up. Ballerina goes to find Chancellor. Wick has a classic John Wick fight, making me want to rewatch the film immediately after viewing this. Ballerina catches up to Chancellor, kills him and his goons. They ride off into the sunset. A bounty is put on her head. End credits. You know, I had high hopes for this movie. I really did, but they completely shat the bed. This movie tries way too hard to live up to the Daisy universe. Instead of letting this be its own movie, they had to shoehorn in everything that could attach Ballerina to John Wick, and it was unnecessary. I was looking forward to this being a story about her, how she came up and didn't need any help and figured it out on her own. But that's not what we got. I'm highly disappointed. This is why I'm having a rant, because I was looking forward to this movie. Movies I look forward to, I'm going to feel some kind of way about it. You used too many member berries. Hey, here's this character. Here's that character. Hey, here's this line that he says in that movie. And I'm just like, what? And there was a line in here that was akin to when Winston told John Wick in the first one, you dip so much as the pinky back into this pond, you gonna get your ass chewed out. And there was a similar one in this one. And it was good all the way up till they put in an ADR line that said Eve. And it just threw everything off up until that point. The gist of that line was Adam and Eve bit off more than they can chew. And the line was delivered gracefully by Winston, but the ADR just threw it off because they had to add her name in. It was perfect without it. And, for some reason, this movie felt it had to go above and beyond than what it needed to. It didn't feel like it was set in the Daisy universe. It felt like an overly produced action movie with garbage ass storytelling. Yes, there is a thing called show don't tell, but some things just don't need to be shown. We don't need to be shown mundane things that don't have an impact on the plot. Yeah, I don't know what your favorite YouTube critic was watching when they reviewed this movie, but they left out a lot of key factors. They let a lot of shit slide in their review. Ballerina should have had conviction like John Wick had in his first movie, which kicked off the whole Daisy verse. Her dad dying should have been present in every scene, or present in majority of the scene, especially when she met up with the Chancellor and all the goons. And for me, the actress Anna, she didn't really do it for me. She doesn't come off as a female action star. My top female action stars would be Scarlett Johansson, Kate Beckinsale, Mila Jovovich, Charlize Theron, and I would even throw in Anne Hathaway based off her Dark Knight Rises Catwoman. But Anna, she didn't sell the lines and the action prowess in this movie. So that being said, I'll see you on the next one. Like, comment, subscribe.